Hello, everyone. This is Ferrante Frazier, and this is another episode as natural as F. Now, I want to thank all those listeners who have been following our information for quite a while now. We're holistic practitioners out of Savannah, Georgia, and we practice philosophy called natural hygiene. Now, there's a bunch of modalities out here in the public that you can so-called get yourself healthy and get yourself, healed somewhat according, or be able to palliate or suppress your symptoms of disease by using these different gadgets, by using these different so-called modalities such as pills, potions, remedies, and treatments. Those things have gave us a degree of like health, but not true health. But natural hygiene is a concept that we've been teaching our viewers and all those students who've been following us a more natural approach to health that doesn't use the superstition of medicines, herbs, supplements, and different remedies and treatments. We're located out of Savannah. We have a website, savannahnaturalhealth.com. You can get in touch with us at 912-227-9335. This is us here in Savannah at Savannah Natural Health. We have a clinic built around teaching a more sound way of health. We're here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock teaching holistic health. Now, a lot of people think that holistic health is just talking about, hey, I got to eat fruits and vegetables, or I got to deal with some type of remedies or something like that. Because you got a lot of people think you say, hey, I got to go to a holistic doctor. He got something to give me. He got some natural remedy to give me or something like that. And we don't look at holistic health in that manner as in remedies. We look at the modality, of the individual life and the environment that supports them. Is that environment supportive of their growth? Are their habits supportive of their growth? Or are they unsupportive of their growth? So we want to take a second right now and let's just get all tuned in together. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to start off by talking about this breaking news that we got about this pandemic. Every Tuesday here, 6 o'clock on ATR Media, just tap into us and learn a holistic approach. But in the breaking news today, we're going to talk a little bit more about this pandemic. Now, we did say that we weren't going to sit here and keep beating into our viewers about the poisonous effects of this vaccine and this whole concept behind the so-called virus that mainstream media is pushing out into the world. But it's necessary that we protect our viewers and the people who we are entrusted to protect. And we ask that the divine protector just flow through us right now and connect where we can get understanding about what's really going on. Now, we're looking at the news now, and we're seeing that the news is even reporting the death and all these effects of these so-called vaccines that are coming out. Now, those who are looking at the news, we see right now on the news that there's 6 individuals who have that's been reported now. This is what's being reported. I doubt that they're giving us everyone who's actually suffered from these vaccines, but they are actually putting it out there now. This Johnson and Johnson vaccine has recently, within a day or so, created a blood clot or this blood condition in these individuals, 6 women who's suffering from it, and one of them actually died from it. So we're actually seeing the effects of these vaccine poisons. Now, I don't know what Johnson and Johnson got against women, because they just recently had it where they had a big lawsuit out, causing ovarian cancer in women from one of their other products. So I'm not sure if Johnson and Johnson got this thing against women, that they're producing stuff that's actually killing and destroying our females, So that's something that we might have to take into our mental thought and think for a second and see, hey, what is Johnson and Johnson doing here? So, and not only them, we see that these other vaccines, they're just not getting notoriety about their toxic effects just yet, but they will, pop up their, you'll say, satanic head in just a little while when their effects start causing issues in the community. When they start coming out, people start letting people know what's going on. Matter of fact, that's what we're going to talk about almost at the end of this segment. Some of the symptoms of this vaccine, when you're getting these vaccines, why you're having these symptoms that's going on. Peace, brother. Glad that you're here and always supportive of this movement that we got on holistic health and healing. And all our viewers, we thank you so much. And while you're here, this is a live show, and we want you to follow us every Tuesday and like and share. Share this with your family right now. Family members, call them up and tell them, hey, go and listen to Naturalist F on ATR Media. You can go to the YouTube. Just go right to our page, Ferrante Frazier, or go to Julius Hall page and go and pay attention to the show. Tune into it and then share it with other family members who might be suffering with disease or have, questions about should they be taking this vaccines, or giving them a better understanding instead of just listening to medical doctors. As I told you before, you have no one in the news that is really against this medicine that they will bring on the news. All you seeing is people who are supportive of the medicine. They go to the medical mentality to ask questions. They don't go to holistic doctors to find out and put out information into the world and give them a larger platform to educate the people and let them decide between these evils and what's good. So here it is. ATR has always allowed us to be freely flowing with our information uninterrupted. We have no censor. I get to tell it like it is, unadulterated ways towards health. And that's what natural hygiene is, the unadulterated way to health without the superstition, without the voodoo talk or any of that stuff. Man can only become healthy by healthy living. There is no intercession for a man's bad habits. He can't cover them up with some blood or anything like that, or with some serum poison or any type of other stuff. Man have to stop the sinning if he wish to regain health and regenerate full function and power back into his body. So this breaking news is that, people are dying from this, these vaccines that is being mass thrown into our arms. We got it here in Savannah where they opened up a mass a vaccination site, and that's another thing we're looking at. When we're taking medicines from these and getting drug treatments and drug therapies from these doctors, we're in their office and they get to evaluate how this drug is going to affect us. They're not just sending us through a mass production site, just pushing us through stick. So they don't know how it's going to affect us. We might start suffocating. We might start having a reaction, start breaking out with a rash and all type of stuff that can be addressed right then with the doctor. But if we're going to these mass vaccine depots, like the Walmart of vaccine going on, like I'm surprised Walmart ain't selling it. They got everything else, but they're setting up Walmart's of vaccine and allowing people just drive up, take the vaccine, and take off. So we're riding around with people who are being doped up. People who, we don't know if these folks are going to go into shock while they're behind the wheel, run into us and all type of stuff. They shouldn't be behind a car, driving after they just been ingested with some, this poison that they've been ingested in. They need to watch these people and find out what's going on with them. And most people who are suffering with these diseases are I'm going to say, I call them disease because any symptom is a so-called dis-ease. You're not at ease. You're at a dis-ease. If you coughing and sneezing and aching and suffering pain and stuff like that, you're not at ease. You're not comfortable. You're discomfort. You're dis-ease. So the idea here is that most people are suffering from illnesses and sicknesses after taking the vaccine, but they're not telling anybody. They're just dealing with it. I know plenty of people who have had symptoms after taking these vaccines that are not telling anybody. They're just going to bed, dealing with it for the next 2-3 days until their body their body recover from it, from that ingestion of poison. They're not letting the CDC know. No one's calling up the CDC. Hey, man, I just had 3 days of achiness in my arm, my right arm. I couldn't even move it for a while. I've been succumbed to my bed for, 3 days. I couldn't eat anything. I was throwing up. I had constipation. I had diarrhea. All these different symptoms that we are experiencing after taking these vaccinations after being given these vaccinations, and no one is reporting to the CDC, not reporting to the WHO, not reporting to the hospital. No one's telling the governor or the mayor or the president what's going on. So the only thing that we're being told is a couple of people saying, well, I didn't feel anything, you know, different things like that. So we're not getting the information from the people who are feeling something. I don't know if it's from shame or what, you know, but the only way that we can become more aware of what's going on is when we start, you know, voicing what's happening in our community to make other people aware. If you did something bad, let the people know where you can stop another from doing the same thing. This is where we come in and start wondering what really is disease, because a lot of people are taking these medicines and vaccines because they believe that they can ward off disease. But a lot of us don't understand what disease is. See, the medical mentality got us confused when it comes to what disease is. Now, if you have been following natural hygiene and what we teach, the philosophy of disease is totally different. We see this disease as one entity. It's toxemia, poison blood. All right. So disease is not a bunch of different entities. It's not caused by viruses, caused by this, and caused by bacteria and different things of that nature. Poison blood. There is just one disease, toxemia. Tox is toxin, and emia is blood. When the blood becomes toxic, that toxic blood must be filtered and toxins must be eliminated out of that blood or you will die. All right. So the body have when you have this accumulation of poison in your blood, the body have to decide and take two actions. It got to either succumb to this poison blood and just die, or it have to take action. Now, the actions that it's going to take is either to throw it off or to accumulate it into storage spots, you know, put on a little weight, or we start, you know, having swelling going on in a certain area or something like that. That's storage. The body have to put it in out of the way areas. It might even put it in a joint. It might even put it in, you know, subcutaneous tissue, might put it in some fat tissue. Hello, everyone who's joining us, and thank you for your comments. If anybody may have something like a question that they want to post up, we're live, and we'll address those questions as we're going. But we're going to be talking a lot about this thing called disease. And disease, it starts in the womb when we were young. You know, now disease is toxemia. That's that poison blood when we have this poison. But disease, that toxemia starts in the womb. It don't just start yesterday. We don't just get sick today because of some virus that just came in the air floating and attacking everybody like some plagues of the Bible or anything like that. But we see that it's an evolution. Disease is an evolution. It evolves on us over a period of time. And now the environment does play a big part into our sickness and our weakening that causes us to have this poison in our blood. But it starts in the womb. A lot of people don't realize that we're not feeding our pregnant women properly. Our pregnant women are not feeding themselves properly. They're not taking care of themselves properly. They're not going out there getting sunlight. They're not only drinking clean water, because you got to think, our females are our, you'll say, manufacturing plant for the next race of human beings. All right. So every human being must come through the woman. Now, if that woman is broken down, tore down, not taking care of herself, then she will produce a being of low stature, of low grade, with low vitality and stuff like that. She will create a weak being. We see that in animals. When you're breeding animals, if the animal is sickly and they're mating with other sickly animals, then you have a weakening, or even have a bunch of natural abortions going on. And that's what we're seeing in today's time. where, who's having natural birth now? Mostly everyone has to have a C-section, have to have cerclages and different other, high-risk births that's going on. And no one is pretty much, breastfeeding anymore. Similac has become the new food for our kids. Gerber babies we're raising. We're no longer raising natural babies. They're Gerber babies now. So it starts in the womb that we start producing this sickness in our children and weakening them, and to the point where they cannot live in this world without being sick individuals and different so-called parasites attacked in their body, because the body is no good. We see plants, if we're growing plants, if we don't grow the plants properly, then nature will automatically send parasites there to eat it away, because it doesn't need to be here on Earth, because it's of no good, no value. Fruit and stuff that is not sufficient for us to eat, it will start breaking down and parasites will come and eat it as well. So humans, when we're not sound and perfectly made, because we first of all been, in a bad manufacturing plant called the womb, because like we said, that our females, they're not taking care of themselves properly. No one is showing them how to properly take care of themselves. They think medicines and a bunch of iron pills and that book about what they expect when you're expecting is going to be the proper way to raise and get these kids together. Just imagine that. We need books to know how to raise kids when we were doing this stuff millions of years prior to this book coming out. I mean, how has man been able to survive on Earth without these so-called medical people? I just don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because they believe that they have all the answers when it comes to health. And how were we able to make it without their drugs and stuff like that prior to that? So it starts in the womb. We've been breaking ourselves down since the womb, and now we're going into childhood, and we notice that we're also hasn't corrected the problem. So if we're creating sickly kids at birth, because now if you notice that the kids are losing their tonsils, they're losing their adenoids at a rapid rate. We got some doctors here in Savannah, that's all they do is snatch out our kids' tonsils and their adenoids. And now those are lymphatic tissues that are needed to protect the body from intrusion and a place to store toxins until they can be properly thrown out of the body. So you can look at lymphatic tissue or lymph nodes as being trash cans in the body. When trash and toxins are accumulated by the immune system, it takes it to a lymphatic tissue or lymph node and store it there until it can properly be thrown out of the system. Now, when you don't have a trash can there, then trash have to just be laying around in the house. If you don't have a trash can in your house, you just throw it in the corner somewhere, or throw it to the side, or just leave it on the table. So the place becomes junky on the inside. And this is the same thing that's going on in the human bodies, because, we're snatching out our lymphatic tissues or lymph nodes throughout our body, because the doctor said, well, you don't need your tonsils, you don't need your adenoids or anything like that. So we go from our, womb being sickly, and we go up and raised up as childhood being sickly, on medicines, and we're wondering why these children are sick, because we're dosing them with a bunch of vaccines. They're taking way more vaccines than we took in our days. Now, we also see that it's pretty much ignored during teen and early adulthood. Disease, poisoning that we have going on in our life. Our lifestyle habits haven't changed from our parents. Our parents were living some type of way, and we're living just like our parents because we're in the same environment. We raised up chewing on chicken bones, cookies and all type of other stuff. You see the little baby got a chicken bone in their mouth and stuff like that, eating cakes and cookies, and don't even have a digestion system that's capable of digesting that food right now. And you also see that going into the early childhood, where still just feeding them a bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, where we got them on multivitamins, we got them, drinking a bunch of milk, this milk conspiracy telling us they got to have milk for strong bones and not going out there into the sun and actually getting proper vitamin D and not from this, cow pus milk that we're putting into the body. And that's one thing. You got a lot of the women mentality not to give their children milk from their own bodies, but will give them milk from an animal, So that's something that we need to address as well in our community and in our world if we want to see more health generate in our surroundings. Now, like I said, it's ignored during teen and early adulthood. Now, if you notice, when we were teens, we didn't even care about health anyhow. We wasn't thinking about that. We were running the streets, trying to find ourselves, and we were on like the edge of sicknesses and stuff like that until it showed up into adulthood. And in our adulthood, that's when we started suppressing our symptoms of aching, and we started taking more Tylenol. We started taking more, other sinus medicines and stuff like that. You notice that we didn't take these type of stuff when we were teenagers. Nothing affected us hardly. Or if we had something, we just developed a quick cold. We, went to sleep, drunk some water, and felt good the next day. That was acute crisis to eliminate poisons out of our body or to take out the trash. That was an acute condition. That's when mama yelling at you, like, you better get that trash out of there. But eventually over time, you get older that you don't take out trash anymore. Trash just sits and accumulates in your body. So this is when you start having chronic issues. All right. So chronic issues is the result of having too much acute crises that weaken your body, that you don't have energy to get rid of these toxins out anymore, and the suppressing from using drugs, like any drugs, like the Tylenol, are taking laxative, are taking high blood pressure medicine, taking insulin and other diabetes medicine. All of those medicines, they suppress or palliate a symptom of your body trying to heal itself, or trying to throw off toxins, or trying to repair itself in some type of manner. But we're not looking at the disease as your body healing itself. We look at disease symptom as a troublesome thing. We look at the cough as, I need to suppress that cough. We look at that cough as the body throwing off something, trying to get rid of something. Now, I'm not going to stop that. If the body is trying to throw off something via coughing, I'm going to let that process run a course. If I'm sneezing out something, I'm not going to suppress the sneeze. I'm going to keep on sneezing until whatever is the body is trying to throw off is sneezed out. I'm not going to suppress sweating if I'm hot. I'm just going to get out of the hot environment and let the sweating stops on its own. Constipation, diarrhea. We're not going to stop diarrhea. If something is rotting in my digestive tract and irritating it, got it all rumbling, growling like some gorillas and lions, tigers, and bears in there, I'm going to go sit on the toilet and let that stuff out of me. We're not going to, stop it. So that stuff that's toxic on the inside, we need to let it out. Yes, we need to let it out, and let that stuff come on out of you. If it's not coming out of you, well, then where is it going? If you just ate something that sat there and rotted inside of you and your body wanted to throw it off, but you took some laxative that, took something that, some kale pick there or something like that, something to stop you from going to the bathroom, then where is those toxins, that fermenting, that decomposing waste going at? is to stand inside you, irritating your digestive tract. Now, irritation to your digestive tract will cause a hardening. Anytime you sit there and keep irritating cells, those cells are going to develop calluses. Anytime you sit there and keep abusing a part of your body, it's going to produce a hardening. Now, imagine a hardening going on in your digestive tract. If you keep irritating your digestive tract with all that rumbling going on, and that grumbling going on in your stomach, that's irritation, those gases. And those foods, those toxic foods that's breaking down inside you is irritating those tissues. All right. That hardening is what you call cancer. Because a hardening is that carcinoma, that sarcoma, that hardening effect that's going on in your digestive tract. So when we don't allow proper drainage, when we don't allow toxins to properly drain out of our body via nose, via mouth, via eyes, via ears, via, where in the toilet or urinating, those toxins tend to get pent up in our body. So we don't have proper drainage, then that causes irritation, hardening, and cancer and death. So even when our organs are overused and abused, they no longer can properly drain the body. When you overuse your kidneys to damage, then your kidneys no longer can filter your blood of uric crystals and other so-called crystals that are irritating in your body, like salt and sugar and different things like that. So when you start having kidney failure, then you start developing health issues as well. But why is the kidney failing? Because it's been overused. Every time you sit there and drink something that is sugary, your body have to automatically go into a mode of detoxing that sugar out. Otherwise, it's going to cause death to you. Remember, I told you, anytime poisons accumulate in your body or come into your body got two choices on how to deal with it. The first choice is to succumb and let it just kill it. Second one is to take action. Now, that action is going to be neutralizing it and throwing it out of the body. The route that it throws it out of the body is your so-called dis-ease, or the symptoms of detoxification. Your body is detoxifying this sugar out of your body. It's detoxing salt out of your body. It's detoxing uric crystals out of your body. So any poison that gain entrance into this organism, the body have to take action. It's the law of self-preservation, the number one law of life. The body will preserve itself according to the amount of energy it have on hand. And it will act according to the threat. If the threat is not that threatening, it's going to have a mild reaction. If the threat is violent, it's going to have a violent reaction. All right. We see that in drugs. When you take a small amount of drugs, you have a small amount of reaction. You smoke a little weed, you get a little bit high. You smoke some heavy weed, you get really, really high. Same with any other drug as well. So the body reacts to the amount of, it reacts according to the amount of poison that's being thrown in it. So us suppressing our diseases with drugs and different type of treatments, we never correct the cause. We never take out the trash. We just keep spraying Febreze in the house. We know it's stinking because we ain't took out the trash. We got, bags of rotten material all around the house. But hey, I'm not going to take it out. I'm just going to spray some Febreze. I won't smell that moldy chicken. I won't smell that moldy bread. I won't smell that rotten flesh that's over there, those banana peelings and different things of that nature. I'm not going to smell it because Febreze covers it up. If roaches come, I'll just spray some roach spray, and I'll put out some little roach things out to the so-called catch roaches before they even, start running around in the house. So this is how medical people look at curing disease. We're just going to spray over it to get rid of the smell. We're going to spray out stuff to kill the parasites, and different things like that. But we don't have to clean up or remove cause. We just palliate and suppress. And that's why if we notice that we get to a point where the medicines don't even work anymore, we lose the ability to allow the medicines. Not only do they not work anymore, the medicines themselves produce a separate disease in their own. If you notice that we tend to, and I made sure I wanted to hit on this, so I made sure I wrote it down for us that you can have like, say for example, high blood pressure. This high blood pressure that you'll go to the doctor for and say, hey man, I'm suffering with high. Well, he's going to check you because you're going to say, well, I've been having, my heart been beating a little fast, or I've been having headaches every so often, dryness of mouth and different things of that nature. My sight was a little blurry. And once you start telling him certain symptoms, he's gonna. They probably already check your blood pressure anyhow when you're coming in there. That's one of the first things they do. And if they see an elevated blood pressure, the first thing he's going to want to do is put you on some medicine to control your pressure. Now, usually that medicine is going to be such as a diuretic that's going to take off the excess water out of your system, out of your have you urinating more. All right, so by you urinating more, you're going to be using your kidneys more often. Now, normally you might go to the bathroom 2 to 3 times a day urinating. When you start taking this diuretic, you're going to up the workload of the kidneys to 8, 10, 15 times a day, depending on, how much the diuretic they have you on, how much you continue your bad habits. So the more you work your kidneys, the quicker you're going to fatigue them and cause kidney failure. So we call that an iatrogenic disease. Those are diseases you would never develop had you stayed away from medical drugs. So medical drugs create iatrogenic diseases that is the result of not first addressing the cause and removing it, and then allowing yourself to overwork another part of the body just to deal with what you have going on. Now, remember we talked about what is disease. Remember I told you disease is toxemia, poison blood. All of us have this vital fluid that flows through our body. Now, everyone has this vital fluid. And there is no place that you can possibly really cut yourself and there's no blood flow. All right. Every cell must have this vital fluid. That's why we calling it vital fluid. So the reason why this fluid is vital is because every cell in your body requires oxygen. Every cell in your body requires nutrients, like vitamins and minerals. Every cell in your body requires water and require the benefits of sun. So none of those cells can digest food for themselves, and none of them can breathe for themselves, and none of them can drink for themselves. So there is differentiation in cell activity. So you got different organs and organ systems that are designed to do the work for these cells. And they have a mutual understanding. You do this for me, I'll do this for you. You do this for me, and I'll do this for you. So the digestive system was delegated the job of processing incoming food material and making it available to be turned into blood. And the blood is the distribution center or means or stream to deliver those nutrients to every cell in the body. The lungs was, you would say, delegated to process oxygen and to get rid of carbon for the whole body. There's no other organ that can do the job of the lungs. So here it is. We see that the lungs have done a job that bring in oxygen, and then the oxygen is then turned into blood. Here again, the blood is coming by, picking up oxygen and distributing it out to every cell of the body. Here it is the same thing. When the sun beam on the skin, the blood it picks up vitamin D, helps with assimilating calcium through the skin. So here it is. Another thing is blood is doing the job of picking up and distribution. All right. So when you drink water, this water leaves the stomach and it goes into the blood, and it goes throughout the body and distributed to hydrate the body. So here we're seeing that the blood is the vital distribution center. It's like Amazon on steroids. All right. So here we see that the body is this blood. This is vital blood. The Bible even said there's no regeneration without what? First purification of the blood. Now, when this blood becomes toxic, this is why we suffer disease. When the lungs can no longer filter out the carbon, when you say the digestive tract can no longer get rid of solid material, because not only do the lungs bring in oxygen, it also get rid of carbon. Not only does the stomach or the digestive tract prepare food, it also gets rid of waste material. All right. So there are other organs that deal with not just incorporating material, but also eliminating material from the blood. So the blood not only distributes ideal material to every cell, it also, when the cell get finished, processing, got waste, that cell dips it back into the blood, and the blood carries that waste back to the lungs to get where you breathe out carbon. The blood then travels to the digestive tract where you have that good bowel movement. So this blood is vital. All right. So when this blood becomes toxic, then the whole body is toxic. Every cell touches this blood. So if the blood is already toxic, how else can you dump toxins into this blood? All right. So if your trash can is already full, and if the truck is already full of waste, the trash truck is already full of waste, there's no more waste can get in the truck. But if the cells are continuously creating waste, but they can't discard their waste into the blood, then what's going to become of those cells if they have to sit there and live in a filthy environment? You remember that filthy environment is going to produce parasites, is going to cause irritation and hardening and destroy the cells. So this is how we create disease in our body. Now, the body in its wisdom, whenever the blood starts getting real toxic, the body attempts to do what we call an acute crisis to heal itself. So it might use an abnormal route in which to free itself of waste. It might have you cough up a big loogie of toxin. It might have some wax coming out of your ear with toxins. It might have something coming out of your eyes. It might have a drainage draining from your nose. You might have an extra bowel movement. You might have some extra urination. So more action or abnormal action is the result of poisoned blood. Now that abnormal action and that excess action is what we call acute crisis or acute symptoms. You go crying about symptoms. I'm using the bathroom too much, doctor. I don't like waking up at night using the bathroom. So all these symptoms are the result of poisoned blood. It's not all this other stuff that these doctors are telling us. Now, what is the cause of disease? We know what disease is. Disease is poisoned blood. When our blood becomes poisonous, then, the body have to free itself of that poison. So our disease is the result of cleaning blood. When blood have to be cleaned up and purified through abnormal routes or excessive action, It's because of what? What causes this? Innervation, with overusage. When our energy levels get low, the body doesn't have energy to do any work anymore. And that's why we see disease more prolific as we went from the womb to early childhood to teenage, early adulthood to, adulthood and elderly. You see that the youth, they can throw off toxins like that. They got the energy to get rid of toxins like that. They're getting rid of toxins like that. And kids, and teenagers, they throwing that stuff off. But as our energy levels are used up, our vitality is used up, and misused, and we have all these energy suckers on us. We call them energy robbers. They're robbing you of your energy, worry, stress, house payments, car payments, worrying about, children, are they going to be okay? They going off to college and different stuff, jealousy, watching, doing too much news and stuff. Anything that drains the body of its energy, too much sex, whatever. Anything that drains the body of its vitality will initially, eventually, drain the body so much till now regular processes cannot be dealt with. Even you can see that when you trying to eat something, you can't eat when you're under stress, because why? Your body is reserving that energy for the fight or flight response. So that energy have to be redirected towards, running or being able to protect yourself. It doesn't have time to eat. It doesn't have energy to do both. It can't do both. So this is the same thing going on when our energy levels get so low. Regular processes in our body are no longer working properly. So here again, we see that in our habits haven't changed. We're still eating the same, we're still drinking the same, we're still living the same. So our trash cans are getting full up even faster because our energy levels are getting lower and lower and lower. And we're going to have a more detailed show about the cause of disease, innervation being a low functioning power. You're no longer functioning like with high energy, high vitality. So your kidneys is not filtering proper, so toxins start building up in the blood. Your lungs is not filtering properly, toxins start building up in the blood. So anytime toxins start building up in the blood, that's when you develop toxemia, poison blood. Remember, poison blood is what? A disease. All right. So what causes a disease? Low functioning power, that there's not going to be any type of cleansing going on. All right. So let's fast forward a little bit to this drugging cure mentality. We look at, because we have probably about 12 more minutes left, and I wanted to make sure that we get back to talking about this so-called vaccine and this drugging mentality that's going on into the world. I posted a post earlier today that stated something that Dr. Herbert Shelton posted in his hygienic material in a lot of his books back in the days when he was yet alive. And he made a good statement saying that how is it that you can give medicine to a well man and it causes him to become sick, and we think that giving a sick man medicine is going to cause him to become well? Now, medicine can't work that way, That's not logic when we look at that. That which will cause one man's sickness will also cause another man's sickness. That which will produce health in one man will also produce health in another man, not cause him to become sick. If anything, if you gave medicine to a well man, if medicine caused you to become well, it should make him weller, if that's a word or a statement or phrase. So how is he not weller? Why is he becoming sick if drugs produce wellness in individuals? And that's why we're saying that drugging is a bad medical blunder of this time. And it may appear to save people lives, but we're giving the credit to a medicine. Now, we also posted something that Dr. Herbert Shelton, and if you haven't heard of Dr. Herbert Shelton, he's one of the most prolific hygienists of our time who, you'll say, formulated a lot of the laws of natural hygiene and got a lot of the education that we utilize in helping people correct health issues. He was a fasting guru. He fasted over 40,000 people in his lifetime. And matter of fact, he wrote a great book on fasting called Fasting Can Save Your Life. If anyone interested in fasting, we are supervisors of fasting. We don't advise anyone to fast on their own for a long period of time. Now, if you do a day or two of fasting, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to look at fasting as a way to help restore your body back to full functioning power, I would tell you to get someone who is familiar about fasting and how to break the fast properly and learn about fasting. And like I said, that book, Fasting Can Save Your Life, you can order it right there off of Amazon. It might cost you nothing about $10, $15 to correct a lot of the health issues that are costing you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands to get rid of, because there's some stuff in there getting rid of dementia, paralysis agitant, heart disease, all kind of different things in there that, doctors are saying are incurable, things that people are dying from. It can save your life. That's what the book is entitled. So when you get a chance, go and look up Dr. Herbert Shelton, Fasting Can Save Your Life. You got a bunch of other information out there as well. We got some other prolific doctors called T.C. Fry. Look up him, Sylvester Graham, Dr. Trawl, Susan Dobbs. A lot of people who were great at talking about the holistic approach of natural hygiene. Even Ellen White. Ellen White, one of the originators of the Seventh-day Adventists, she practiced a lot with natural hygiene. And thus that you see that a lot of our teachings kind of go side by side with the Seventh-day Adventist teaching because they learn up under natural hygiene. So here it is. We see that, health only comes from healthy living. We look at how drugs work. How do drugs work? The same way that the doctor know how drugs work is the same way that toxicologists learn about how poisonous they are. If a toxicologist get a poison and they see that the poison effects, if you take it in this amount, it will kill you. But if you take it in only this amount, half, it will only produce a mild diarrhea in you. All right. So what they do is say, well, okay, if it'll kill you at this level, so the toxicity of the substance is what gives it its medicinal effect. So they're looking at causing a disease in you to create a outcome. If you're constipated, let's cause a diarrhea. If you diarrhea, let's cause constipation. So it's always, let's produce disease. The only way they can heal you by producing another disease with their drugs. We got to poison you to so-called treat you, palliate, suppress. Now, this is the way of the medical people. And how can you prove that medicines actually or drugs actually work anyhow? Because people get healed with or without them. You can have 10 men with headaches. One can take a Tylenol, one can take a Bear, one can take a Lee, one can take a Goody, one can take some, all these other different ones. And how is it that all these different medicines so-called relieve headache? Why do we need all this? And why are we still searching for drugs if we have all these drugs that so-called can, out here on the market already? Obviously, they don't work if we're still looking for more drugs. Unless we're just some drug heads, we just love drugs. by any means necessary. We getting it from the medical people, or we getting it from Bobo off the corner. We just like drugs. So we got to get out of the drug mentality. When these poisons are given to well person, they produce sickness. So why do we think that they is any good for sick people? Effects of vaccine poisoning before we get off, because we got like 5 minutes left. I wanted to make sure that I give you a good understanding about the effects of this vaccine poisoning. And thank everyone who's been up here and been tagging people in and been sharing this information with everybody. We do appreciate you, and we thank you so much. I have so much gratitude for all your love, and we ask that you continuously support us by sharing with people. Under the heading of diseases due to physical agents and intoxicants. Now, a lot of us don't realize that this vaccines that they're putting into our body is an intoxicating agent. All right, so drugs, serum poisoning is this is a good term. A matter of fact, anaphylaxis is if we look at the definition of anaphylaxis, this is the Hebrew term for serum poison. When you've been poisoned with serum or protein poison, you might go into an anaphylactic shock. You might have reactions, or something from serum poisoning or protein poison. And any protein introduced into the body through other channels than the digestive tract is a rank poison. Now, when we are allowing these people to inject proteins straight into our blood system, that is a rank poison according to hygienic literature. So we are bypassing the digestive tract. Now, when you eat some protein, the digestive tract breaks the proteins down into amino acids, where they can then be absorbed into the blood, distributed out to the cells, where the cells can make use of those amino acids. But if you're directly injecting proteins into your blood, you are not allowing proper digestion. So you got undigested proteins circulating through your body. And this is a rank poison, according to hygienic terms. All serums and vaccines are foreign proteins and therefore poisonous. Anaphylaxis follows every use of all serum. Now, a lot of people have been wondering what type of symptoms and different effects of these poisons. And I hear a lot of people saying everything that's written down in our hygienic literature right now that they've been suffering from. Now they wipe it off like, oh, I ain't had nothing but some sore arm for 2 days. You're not wondering, what's going on. So let's look at it. It says symptoms. These may be mild or severe. In this mildest form, there may be only restlessness. A lot of people say they felt restlessness after taking this, feverish and aching in the limbs. Aching in the limbs is a real go-to thing, and that's one of the first things we got in our hygienic literature. Or there may be a mild rash. All right. Various skin manifestations follow the use of serum. All these are you'll say like nettle rashes and carrion. They may resemble almost any form of skin rash. You might suffer, eruptions like large boils, injections produced by uneasiness and discomfort, malaise, fever, skin eruptions, enlargement of your lymphatic glands. A lot of people say that they've been having swollen lymph glands after taking these poisons. And remember, I told you, any type of poisons come in your body, your immune system have to come and take it and get rid of it. All right. So you having all these different symptoms: paralysis, insanity, inflammation, choking, fainting, dilation, frequently impairment of the heart, collapse, and even death from this stuff. So it's ideal that we pay attention to a lot of the things that's going on and take our health in our own hands. Learn from Natural Hygiene, where we can teach you how to properly sustain yourself in a more ideal way without having to drug yourself and create iatrogenic diseases in your life. Get ready for the Alicia Blakely show that's coming up next. We thank you for tuning in. It seems like we never have enough time to fully expound on the information that we're talking about, but that's why we got next Tuesday at 6 p.m. that we can meet back here in our studio and talk more on holistic health and healing. So best of health and happiness from Savannah Natural Health, and we'll see you next week.